Sometimes I just want to play with paper. Priscilla got these Minte papers and she created beautiful layouts, and I got the leftovers. I have fussy cut quite a few elements, and I've already kind of decided how I want to place my elements. So I'm just going to run you through the basic assembly of this layout and how I dressed up the title. I am a paper scrapper, believe it or not. I love techniques, I love making a big mess, but actually I just love pretty paper. Um, you can see I'm using the two wood grains for my background. I have cut some craft to mat these beautiful photos of Julie's granddaughter on, and now I'm simply framing my mats or bordering them with some of these gorgeous little flowers that I've fussy cut from this Minte collection. On the left page, you can see I've got that door handle, which I thought was just a fantastic element. On one of the cutout sheets, you've got this little bird wreath, and you can see that I've placed it there where that handle is. This title was given to me by Imaginarium Designs, and I have a drawer full of these that I really only keep for special projects. I'm going to heat emboss this, and I'm going to make a custom heat embossing mixture. I'm simply adding some gold, some copper, and some rust embossing powders. These are all just various ones I have in my stash. The color I actually want is the kind of rusty gold coppery that I can pick up in the background paper. So I'm simply pressing my title into my Versamark embossing pad, and I'm sprinkling it with my mixture. I leave it for about 5 seconds before I remove it from my white piece of paper and shake off the excess powder. And there's a little spot here and there that I missed, so I'm simply just pouring the powder over again. And now I'm going to melt the powder. I use a tin foil lined plastic container. It works really well. I have about 3 layers of foil that I've layered or covered my plastic container with. It contains the heat, and it eliminates that you would damage your cutting mat or any of your other tools that should not be melted. Yeah, because a heat tool does melt. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, but embossing powder is simply finely ground plastic, and when we heat emboss, we just melt the plastic again. I want to do a second layer because I felt that it needed just a bit more shine and dimension, and because of the rust embossing powder that is in this mixture, it is not all that shiny because it's supposed to have a rustic look. If you look at the background with the wood grain, it is not supposed to be too shiny, but because it's a beautiful little girl on the layout, I felt that I wanted to add just a touch of shine and sparkle. There you can see what it's looking like after the second layer, and I think that I'm going to go for that. I'm inking all the edges of my paper using a dark brown ink. You can use any brand you like. I think at this stage my favorite is Espresso Truffle from Tucaneko, a little dewdrop. I do love that color. It is extremely versatile. It's not brown, it has a little bit of black, and it's got yellow undertones. It is a wonderful color for techniques, not just for inking. I'm applying my Tombow Mono Multi glue to all my elements, and I want them to become tacky so that I can reposition them if I'm not happy with where I've placed them. I'm using my Le Pen dark brown journaling pen that I've had for many years. It's the perfect dark brown, and I'm simply adding a border around all my photo mats as well as my pieces of paper. All this does is just add some detail to your elements. There's nothing fancy about it. It's all just accentuating the photos, because remember, your most important elements on your layouts are the photos. I've joined my two background papers together, as you can see. Just makes it easier to work on a single, let's call it canvas, a background, instead of having two different ones, it makes it easier to line up your elements as well. With the Tombow glue that is now repositionable, you can see it's really easy if I need to move something. If that was double-sided tape, I would cry because I would have to rip it off my page. I'm not big on undo or benzene. I just don't like the way it wobbles the paper, so I prefer to actually just use my Tombow. I'm making slits into that door knob, door handle, and I'm inserting that round fussy cut wreath that I showed you earlier through the slits so that it looks as if it's going behind that handle. Now I'm simply placing my elements. Can't remember exactly where I wanted them, but I don't think it really makes a difference. I'm just filling the border so that they all have a little space where they can rest. Putting my title on. I always love it when it comes together like that, and you can see I had a little leftover flower there, but I think everything is on the layout now, and I'm going to write a little note to Julie, who is Mia's grandmother. I will give her this layout one day. So I think it's important to do journaling on all your pages, regardless of whether it's going into your album or not. There's a close-up, so you can see that just with a couple of sheets of paper, I think I used 3 sheets, you can really create a pretty layout. I think this is a pretty page. It's got a beautiful girl on it, beautiful papers. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful creative week.